Hi everyone, it is week 5. So we are this week going to be covering your product detail pages. So we've already covered the whole first half of your website via the homepage and above the fold and your navigation. Last week we dove a little deeper to look at your catalog pages, and now we are almost done. This is week 5, so we've only got 2 weeks left, and we're moving to what is essentially the last step before your customers decide to move on to that final purchase. So product detail pages are very, very important. And this week we've got 12 test templates to run through. So we'll go ahead and start looking at that. The first test template, hi Nixie, thanks for joining. The first test template that we've got here is image scroll versus thumbnails. So typically by default, a lot of e-commerce stores will have thumbnails that you have to click each individual image to move between. And a better layout for that is to allow your shoppers to scroll through images. As many as 85% of, especially mobile shoppers, say that scrolling is a lot more convenient than clicking. It is less disruptive in their shopping experience, and it's just easier to swipe through images rather than having to continue to scroll down and click on an image and scroll back up to look at it. Whether you're on desktop or mobile, being able to scroll through images is just more seamless, and it makes the shopping experience better. Hi, Eamon, thanks for joining. So if you already have images, obviously you have images on your product detail pages. If you just have the thumbnail clicks, I definitely recommend that you switch over to a scrolling layout. It's really easy to do. You can do it with a plugin, or there's just a quick, easy code that you can implement too that adds those scrolling arrows. It makes that a lot easier for your shoppers. So the second test here that I recommend is optimizing above the fold on the product detail pages. So we already covered in week 2 how important above the fold is, especially on your home page, but above the fold is something that applies to your entire site. So looking specifically at these product detail pages, you want to make sure that all the important information is showing on the top part of that screen that loads when they first load that page. For mobile shoppers, that means being able to see the CTA and all of the purchase options. So that's quantity selectors, color selectors, size selectors, anything that you have that's a purchase option, as well as that add to cart button. It needs to be right there, front and center, above the fold. And obviously there's more on that page that people are going to be scrolling to look through. So making your add to cart button sticky or persistent so that it follows people as they scroll down the page, that is an awesome customer experience thing to implement, just because they don't have to scroll all the way back up to add something to their cart. You've got all the purchase options here, either stuck to the bottom of the page or stuck to the top of the page, where they can select their colors and their sizes and then add it to cart immediately. So again, really easy to implement. You can make anything sticky. We covered this last week. Code for Shopify, just to make any element on your site sticky, just by changing the CSS for that element. But we've also got some great plugins here for WordPress and Shopify as well, just to make it a little more stylistic if you're interested in that. Number 3, saving sizing preferences. So this is a really cool feature that I've gotten into a lot lately. It really customizes that experience for your shoppers. So when they select an item, or if they add an item to their cart, if they add a pair of pants to their cart and select a certain size, from then on out, every other pair of pants that they look at on your site will auto-select that size. So let's say they selected a medium shirt the first time they added an item to their cart. Every other shirt they look at, it's automatically going to select that medium size for them. And it's just a small thing, but it really makes that shopping experience go quicker. It's one less step that they have to complete before adding something to their cart. And it's just a personalized experience. It makes the shopper feel special and important, and it's a kind of a fun thing to have on a site. So we ran this test, and it increased add to carts by 6.81%, and it also increased product orders by 1.64%. So again, a small thing, but it does make a small difference. There's plugins here for both Shopify and WordPress, and this plugin in particular is the Farah AI app, which later on in this video we are going to be running through a live test setup in Farah. A lot of these test templates that I'll be going through are Farah specific. They have a really great user interface, and I think that they are probably the best app to use for a lot of these tests. So I will be recommending those for a lot of these tests that we're running, as well as showing you the platform later on. So these plugins right here for Shopify and WordPress, it's for Farah. They do a really great job with this size remembering skill. Number 4 is scarcity messaging. So shoppers are much more likely to purchase something if they feel like they're going to miss out on it later on. If they feel like, they like this shirt, but I'll come back and buy it next week, they're much more likely to buy it now if you tell them there's only a few left in stock. Make it feel like this item is scarce, and you can add whatever number you want. If you want it to say there's only 3 left in stock, you can do that. The number is completely up to you. It doesn't have to be a realistic representation of how many you really have in stock, especially if you're drop shipping. Obviously, you don't have any in stock because it's just order and ship as they come and go. So adding the scarcity messaging will increase people's what's the word I'm looking for? It'll increase their they'll purchase more. I don't know what the word is I'm looking for there, but anyway, we ran this test as well, and it increased add to carts by 12.67%, as well as products ordered by 11.03%. Again, the Shopify and WordPress plugins for Farah, they have this skill in there as well. Urgency messaging, it's very similar to scarcity messaging, except for it's more of like a countdown, or you're really going to miss out on something else. Not necessarily you're going to miss out on buying the product. You're not saying that the product is going to run out, but either you're not going to get it as quickly or a deal might expire. So in this case, we have order within 1 day and 15 hours in order to get it by March 9th. And this is something I see a lot on Amazon. Amazon has this on a lot. If you have Prime shipping, it'll tell you order within the next couple hours to get with Prime shipping by Thursday or whatever day, the algorithm figures that out. So if people are wanting to get this item as quickly as possible, that kind of gives them that motivation to say, oh yes, I want this by Thursday, I need to order within a day. Whereas if they wait till tomorrow, then they won't get it till Friday or Monday or something like that. So that's a great urgency message to incorporate, as well as if you're running a deal on a product, you can say that this price expires in 60 minutes or whatever you want, to encourage people to purchase sooner rather than later. This particular test increased revenue and revenue per user by over 100%. So really giving those people that ultimatum, making them think that they have to order now or else. Social proof feed. This is another great Farah skill. I know I'm talking a lot about Farah skills, but you can't really find these a lot of other places. They have a lot of unique tests that they have in there. So this one is the social proof feed. And you've probably seen this around the web. It's just a little pop-up box that kind of pulls up in the corner of your page as you're scrolling through the site looking at different products, saying Paige in Lincoln purchased this 2 hours ago, or Amanda in Idaho Falls purchased this a couple minutes ago. And it just kind of shows your customers that other people are having a good experience on your site. Other people are finding your products worthy of being purchased. And that makes people more likely to purchase, because they feel like if other people are purchasing this, if other people are having a good experience and think that these products are worth purchasing, then they must be. It's almost as effective as a review. And it also, at the same time, kind of plays into that urgency messaging or that scarcity messaging, because even if you don't have a X number left in stock, you can subconsciously think to yourself, oh, if someone else just purchased this, then that's one less left for me to buy. So it kind of serves a dual purpose here. Number 7 is inactivity push notifications. So this is a really interesting test that I am interested in running. I actually have only seen it with one client so far, and the test is still running, so the results are yet to be in. But I'm really excited about this new test here, which is when a user goes inactive for a certain amount of time, you send them a push notification. So let's say they're looking at a product on your site. They're on that product detail page, and then they get distracted. They have to go cook dinner, or they're driving, they need to put their phone down, something distracts them, so they leave their phone down. They don't ever go through with the purchase. They're inactive for, let's say, whatever period of time you want, but let's say 10 minutes. So after 10 minutes, this app will push a push notification to the user's phone or their computer. It works on both devices, saying, hey, are you still interested in this product? Or, hey, don't forget that you were looking at this product, just to remind them to go back. Because you've all done this. You've been looking at things online, you get distracted or pulled away for a minute, and then it just ends up lost in your tabs that you have open on your phone screen or your computer screen, or you end up closing it later and never going back. So this is a great reminder to send people those notifications as timely as you want. And you can also send notifications later on. So send someone saying, oh, I saw that you were looking at this 2 days ago. Now this product is on sale, or whatever. These are highly customizable, but they go straight to the user's phone screen. So you get that prime space in front of them. So plug in for WordPress and Shopify for that there. Upsells and related items. If you don't have upsells currently on your product detail pages, I definitely recommend adding them just for the sole purpose of increasing your average order value. People will be looking at products on your site, and they'll either want to see related items or recently viewed items, something like that. It's an easy way to click between different items and see what they might also be interested in. But it's also a great way to upsell people to add an item in addition to whatever they're looking at. One thing that I really enjoy is like on clothing websites or accessory stores, something like Complete the Look. Naming this upsell section something unique to your store will draw more people to look at the item. So something that says our best sellers or related items, people are used to seeing that and they might glance over it. But if you say Complete the Look or styling suggestions, I've even seen other places, that really gives that that nuance that these are things that can go along with what you're buying. You're buying a pair of pants. Oh, well, we recommend this shirt to go with these pair of pants. Or this necklace would look really well stacked with these other necklaces, because necklace stacking is a trend. So look at this long necklace to go with this short necklace. Something like that. Make those recommendations really personalized to the product that your shopper is already looking at. And also add things that make it easy for someone to add. So instead of having to click through to those recommended items one by one and open a new tab or a new page, add quick view and quick add functionality to those upsells directly on your product detail pages so that they can stay on the product they're already looking at, but then look at the Complete the Look items at the same time in a pop-up window, and then add to cart right there from that page. Makes the shopping experience much easier, much more seamless, much quicker, and the quicker you can get people to add things to cart, the better. They're going to add more things that way. Strikeout pricing. So this, again, kind of goes hand in hand with that urgency and that scarcity messaging. When people see the mention of a sale or a discount anywhere, if you see a strikeout price next to a regular price, you're automatically going to perceive that price as more fair. So in this case, if this phone, $7 is pretty cheap for a phone case anyway, but if it had just said $7 and it didn't have that strikeout price where it said it used to be $36, a lot less people would feel like that was a fair price. They'd be like, oh, it's $7. They might think it's a cheap item because maybe it's always $7, but in this case, they think, oh, it used to be $36, it's a quality item, and now it's just on sale for $7. You really perceive that price in a different way when you see it next to a stricken out price. Women especially are more likely to add an item to the cart when they see it's on sale. So if you have women particular as your audience or your shoppers on your site, this can work really well. And you'll also see here the price is in red, which the color red is a great price for men. So studies have shown that when men see a price in the color red, they're automatically more likely to feel like that is the final price and that is the best price that they're going to find. So this would work really well for both men and women, whether or not the stricken out price worked for them. So we ran this test. The variation with the struck out price increased conversions by like 86%. So I really drove home that perception of a deal. And this is really easy to implement. You can go straight into your Shopify store and enable deals or enable sale prices, and they'll just add that strike-in price just for you without you really having to do a lot of coding or even use a plugin. So that's a free thing to do, an easy thing to implement. If you aren't already doing this, that's something that you can do today really easily. So I definitely recommend checking this one out. If you don't check any of the other ones out, that one's a really easy one to do. Number 10, pre-order availability alerts. So I think I talked about this a little bit last week. We had someone with a store who had some things that are out of stock, and we recommended when you have things out of stock to move them to the bottom of the catalog pages just to get them out of the way. But when you do have items that are either going to be available soon or they're out of stock, it's a great way to not lose your customers by allowing them to sign up for like a notify me list. Because yeah, when people click through to something that they want and they find that it's out of stock, they're likely to bounce or go try and find it somewhere else. So try and hold on to those customers by allowing them to join an email list where you will notify them when it comes back in stock. You can even take this a step further by providing an estimated time until availability. So you can say, we're out of stock right now, but this should be in by next week. Join our list to be notified as soon as it's back in stock so that you don't miss out on it again. Say, it's a really popular item and it goes out of stock a lot. You get people on the list for that reason. You can also offer them a small discount for their trouble. So say, sorry, this is out of stock. Come back and buy it from us when it's back in stock and we'll give you 5 to 10% off or something like that. And you can also even offer pre-orders. So if you want to make sure that they don't leave and they really, they pay you now for this item, you can capture that sale right then and there with a pre-order so that they get put on a wait list, and then as soon as it is available, it ships directly to them. And so we have plugins for Shopify and WordPress there for the notify me option. For accepting pre-orders in your store, there's a link here directly to the Help Shopify site that can explain exactly how to allow pre-orders in your store. And then another recommendation that I have here for kind of like a low-tech free option, if you don't want to buy a plugin or do any like coding on your site, you can just implement like a standard contact form, kind of like you would have on your contact me page where someone can send you an email. Just put a simple contact form on your product pages to say, join this list and we'll notify you when it comes back in stock. And then you can manually contact those customers when their products do come back in stock. Now, this is probably a best option if you don't have a lot of volume, if you're really only seeing 1 or 2 or less people per day signing up for these notify me options on your out of stock products, because you really don't want to have to manually follow up with customers, a list of 100 people or something. That's going to take up a lot of your time. So, I mean, if you're up for it, go for it. But if you have that lower volume, that is a low tech or free option that you can do. Number 11, add to wish list. So this is another option kind of similar to the notify me option above, but this is also available for products that are in stock. So maybe a customer isn't ready to place their order just yet, but they are interested in something. They can add them into their wish list, which also adds them to your mailing list. So you can always send them emails, let them know when something's on sale, or let them know when something might be low in stock and going out of stock soon. Kind of try and drive them back to your site to let them know if they are still interested in this item, they should purchase it now. And that's a really easy thing to add to. Plugins here for both of those. And we ran this test allowing people to add to their wish list, did increase product orders eventually by almost 50%. And again, almost 50% added items to their cart later on too, after coming back to their wish list and finding items that they were still interested in. And finally, the last test template for this week is highlight security and guarantees. So if you have any type of guarantee on your site, whether it's free shipping or money back guarantee, quality guarantee, anything that either sets your store apart or just really guarantees that your item is going to be what you say it is, those are great seals to add to your website, as well as any security seals that you may have. So if you have like if you subscribe to like McAfee or any type of trust software that secures your checkouts, you can create a seal for that. Easy returns, anything like that. Just adding seals like this in there can help create trust, especially for your older shoppers. A lot of older shoppers, you know, they didn't grow up with technology. They're not as comfortable shopping online and providing their credit card details. So they want to make sure that the site that they're shopping on is secure and they're not going to get their money stolen or their identity stolen or anything like that. So this is just a small thing that you can do to increase the trust of your site, make yourself seem more legitimate, and just provide that social proof for people. So this, again, small thing. We ran this test. It increased add to carts by almost a 0.1%. And then people engaged with the seals a little bit more by almost 0.25%. So it was a really small lift, but it does increase that trust, which is important. And then we have plugins here for plugins for WordPress or Shopify. And if you don't want to use a plugin, you can always just add like a little module of, like an image. You can just insert an image on your page. And that's really easy to do. That should just be straight within your store details or your store editing capabilities, just adding an image to your page. You can even make it an image in your image carousel. The last image in your swipe files can be your guarantee seals, and that's a really easy, free way to do that. Okay, so that is all 12 blueprints for this week. We're going to move into a live test setup now with Farah. Oops. Okay. So let me get this. Nice and big here. So this is what Farah looks like, and it is an app that is available for both Shopify and WordPress, and I think a few other different kinds of e-commerce stores. And what it is they have a lot of pre-built what they call skills. And then you can also create custom skills. If you have coding knowledge or you have a developer or something like that, you can create a custom skill from scratch and really run any kind of test that you want. So right here within your dashboard, you can see all of the skills or tests that you're currently running. And right now, so we're running a countdown promo bar, timer and checkout, another kind of timer. And then you can also show the different skills that you're testing against each other. So you do have the option when you enable these skills to just run them to 100% of your traffic, or you can create an A/B test. And those tests will show up here. So you show the skill to about half of your audience or whatever percent of your audience you want to show it to, and then you show the other half of your audience just your normal site to kind of see whether or not this skill is worth implementing on your site permanently. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to set up a test in Farah. So in order to do that, all you have to do is come up here and click on either the pre-built skill or the custom skill. Today we're going to do a pre-built skill. And when you click on that, it opens this window and shows you all of the pre-built skills that you have access to. So this is all of them. You can also filter down by the page that you want to find a skill for. So product detail pages, collection pages, cart, checkout, etc. Today, obviously, we're focusing on product detail pages. So these are the skills that we have available pre-built for product detail pages to choose from. And the skill that we are going to implement today is remember shopper size. So that, if you'll remember, is the skill where if someone selects medium, they always get medium selected on any subsequent product view. So in addition to telling us a quick description of what this skill does, it also provides an estimated revenue increase, which I think is pretty cool for this particular store. If we were to implement the remember shopper size based on our average monthly revenue, Farah predicts that we will have a $190 increase in our revenue, which is a 1.8% increase. So that's pretty cool that it provides you with those those estimates, and you can browse that way too. You can say, I really want to increase my revenue by the most that I possibly can. So maybe you would implement this over here. This one says it'll increase your revenue estimated by 6%, by $632. And we already have that in use, obviously, because we want that $632. So today we're going to do this one, remember shopper size, and in order to get started with that, you can just click choose skill. And once you do that, once you choose the skill, it'll open up this window here where you can customize everything. So the first window that opens up is trigger and conditions. So this is where you will choose where you want that skill to show up. And we obviously want that to show up on any product view page. But you can choose different areas if you have products showing in other areas. We're going to do any product view page and move on to the next step, which is configuration. We don't need to change anything here. This is size element type. So if you wanted to just show it on a certain type of element, you can choose that here. We're going to leave that as auto detect. We don't need to do any custom JavaScript because the skill is already set up exactly how we want it to. If you do want to change anything about the skill, whether it's things that are included in the size, if you have radio buttons or if you have different things on your store that aren't standard, you might want to change the JavaScript here. Same with CSS. If you want things to appear differently, if you want colors to show up differently, fonts, whatever, you can change the CSS here. Again, we're just going to leave this alone. But on the next tab, this is the important one. So when you're setting up your skills, you have the option, like I said, to either set it up to run to 100% of your traffic or set it up as an A/B test. So here in this tab, A/B testing, we do want this to run as a test. So enable A/B testing, we're going to make yes, make it say yes. You will get this pop-up window here that says, are you sure? Make sure that you have at least 500 orders per month before using this feature. So if you have a lot of if you're a lower traffic store and you don't have at least 500 orders per month, it can be better just to enable the skill outright instead of testing it and then just kind of monitor the data on your own. You can disable skills if they aren't doing what you want them to do over time. So this store does have over 500 orders per month, so we're going to go ahead and click yes. And then it'll give us the option to set our A/B testing distribution. So what percentage of shoppers do we want to show this skill to? Do we want to just show it to 25%? We want to show it to 75%? We're just going to split it right down the middle for the most accurate test. And then go ahead and click on to other settings. So this is where you can change the name. If you want to name your test something different, you can type in a description to help you remember what this test is about. Add an image as an icon for the test. You can set a schedule if you would like. So if you don't want to start this test right away, you can specify when you want to start it. And we actually aren't going to start it right away. We're going to move it to start, let's say Wednesday. We want it to start Wednesday, and then we only want it to run for 2 weeks. Or let's say 3 weeks. We want it to run for 3 weeks. So we'll put it to end on that day. So that way we don't have to manually come in and turn the test on and off. It'll just run for those 3 weeks. Without us having to do anything. And then you can set the priority. So how important is this test to you? You can go all the way up to 10. We're going to say 6. And then here's a preview URL. So if you want to look at what it's going to look like in your store, you can copy paste this URL into your browser and kind of preview what's going to happen when you set this live. So after all of these settings are customized and how you want them, you can go ahead and click Save and Preview, and then it will open up this preview of your store. So here we are in the preview mode, and we can click through the store and make sure that it's working right. And then when we're done with that, we can go ahead and click Continue. And that's it. That's really all you have to do. You can either click Launch Now or you can click Launch Later, depending on what you're ready to do. And we're going to click Launch Later. And then when you're done with that, you can either add another skill, customize the skill more, or go to your dashboard. So we don't have another skill to add, but I will go to the dashboard to show you guys the other kind of things that you can look at when you have skills inactive. So click over here to Skills, and you can go into the testing area. So these are the tests that we have currently running. And when something is currently running, you can go ahead and click View Test Results right there, that little beaker, and it'll open up a page that looks like this. And this page shows you your stats. So this is what kind of, when you're looking through the blueprint, I have some screenshots of these results for other tests that we've run. And this is where you can find those. You can see how your test is performing versus when it's on or when it's off. So shoppers who do have the skill versus shoppers who don't. In this case, this test that we are currently running is doing 40% better on add to carts, 280% better on products ordered. It's bringing in more revenue per user, but it's not bringing in a higher average order value. So that's something that we'll want to watch if average order value is something that's important to us. And when you're in the draft tab, so we were just in the test tab, now we're in the draft tab, you'll see that this is the test that we just set up. If we want to edit it or customize it or delete it or do whatever we want here, we can also launch it. This is where we would do that. And that is it for you for this week, you guys. So thanks for joining me on the call. I'm so glad that you guys were able to hop on live today. We only have one more week left, so next week we will be going through your cart and your checkout process, the very, very last step in your consumer shopping journey. But go ahead and review the week 5 blueprint for yourself this week. Choose whatever test you are most excited about and go ahead and implement that in your store and let me know which one you chose. I really want to know which ones were most beneficial to you guys and see those results as they're coming in. So thanks again for joining, and I will see you guys next week.